Nowadays is much done because of the responsibility of the local devotees. There is always some leader. Prabhupada said without a leader nothing can be done. But it is more, I would say, organic. And for me, you see, I grew up in a ISKCON. I grew up in a ISKCON which was never big. In Germany, where I joined, the German nation was scared, in panic. The Hare Krishna sect is taking over Germany. Watch your children, they will take your children, be careful. Big newspaper articles. We asked people on the street, why are you so afraid? How many Hare Krishnas do you think are in Germany? They said, nobody said less as 50,000. We were 15 devotees traveling the whole country upside down. Because they said, you are everywhere. Yeah, of course we were everywhere. We traveled day and night. So you can do lots of things with 15 people. So it's not a question of masses. You see, I come from a country, and you know that. I was born in a communistic country. And that's all the big revolutions, you always see the picture of this thousands and thousands of people marching, protesting, revolution. But actually, it's just, to me they always look like sheeps. There are many sheeps, but doesn't mean really that much. People like to feel better together and just, but sometimes they have no idea what they are doing. There's even one Czech writer, he said, there is nothing worse a material nature can offer as a fanatized big crowd of people. It's like takes life on its own. So anyway, so we should be happy for everybody who comes and takes part. So, should I chant something or how long? My voice is not. I have this, maybe have some water or something like that. So we should just chant, little bit chanting, and then a little bit speaking. That's it? Okay. Yeah? Okay. क्या सकता रे Krishna Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamitinam Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Bhaskatya Desatarana. Okay? So I'm supposed to say a few words. I would like to actually speak about something which we, those who worship Srila Prabhupada and who try to become Krishna conscious, are actually every day saying the same prayer. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Itinamine Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha and Shunyavadi Paskatya Desatarane. It's two words. I remember first time reading translation of this prayer, I couldn't understand anything. What is Nirvishesha? What is Shunyavada? These words really didn't mean anything to me. Then, especially Nirvishesha Shunyavada, the Prabhupada used the word rascal very often, who are preaching the doctrine of oneness and nothingness. Nothingness. I couldn't relate to it, because I think it is, in the first place, for normal people, very difficult to understand how something can be nothing and how something can be the same with everything. Because we are surrounded by evidence that this is exactly opposite. It's never like that. There is nothing same like something else, and there is nothing zero, obviously. There is always something. So, but Srila Prabhupada showed us how deeply and daily and constantly our lives are affected by this kind of understanding. We don't even know it. Therefore Prabhupada called it Mayavadis. That's the one who say this material world is actually illusory. They know that. They know, and it's temporary. They know that too. We can see that. Things never stay the same, and they are kind of illusory. It's very easy to understand the basic elements of what we are preaching, because the conditioned soul is equipped with imperfect senses that can be demonstrated. If we are so perfect, why do we need glasses? Why do we need all kinds of tools to enhance our perception if we are so perfect? And then we have a tendency to cheat. That everybody will agree. We definitely met in our lives already some cheater. Yeah? And actually they are. Actually the worst cheaters, they don't even know that they are cheating. For them this is a lifestyle. You know, this is normal. This is how you live in this world. If there's opportunity, take advantage. You meet a stupid person, you cheat him. Why not? The whole business world is based on cheating. Nothing, actually. You know, it's constantly going on. Nothing is for real. I can give endless examples how we are cheated right now. By misinformation, by buying products. Even the same product from the last year is not the quality of this year. You know, like you may think, why is everybody talking that, you know, that things are getting more expensive? Actually, I know products, lots of products, the price is the same. The price is the same like 2 years ago. Yeah, but the content is not the same. It's like you buy a toothpaste in a tube. The same tube, but only half full. But the price is the same. This is many products are nowadays like this. They keep even the packaging, but they decrease the content. Everything, the quality goes down. The cars are hopelessly useless. They are designed to last only this 2-3 years, and then immediately everything breaks down. You think, oh, I got a cheap car, I will save petrol. But then you pay for the electricity more. And all this, and all this is all cheating. Everywhere you find cheating. So this is not difficult to understand. But how everything can be zero, void, or impersonal, that it's actually impossible to understand. Because let's say people worship the void. They are worshippers of void. But as they are worshipping the void, it's not void anymore. Because there is me and the void. Otherwise, how can I worship the void? If I am also void, then there will be no worship. Everything is void, nothing. Nothing. So if there is a nothing, then what's the use of talking about something? What's the use? So it's completely contradictory. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But whatever we see around, it's always aiming in the same direction. Why? Because personal understanding of life, it brings problems. Immediately there are problems. I'm a person, somebody else is a person. We are not the same. No. I see things differently. He sees things differently. She sees things differently. It's just seeing. I'm speaking about seeing. Okay? Yeah? What about the feeling? Oh, then it gets really complicated. I feel what... Why doesn't he feel what I feel? I don't know what he feels. He looks so strange. What does he feel? Constant. If you want to have it really complicated, you have to combine male and female together. Then it gets really complicated. Impossible. Impossible. There is nowadays many essays and articles being written about how wonderful it is to be alone. People think, oh, this will solve the problem, yeah? I will be alone. There will be nobody. And I will speak to nobody. I will act with nobody. I will be alone. That solves lots of problem, But that's not even possible. Buddhism is basically the authorized form how to be alone, Buddhists, because they think we are coming from nothing and we become nothing. Therefore, from a Vedic point of view, they are considered being atheists. There is no cause, really. It's just a system. Whoever arranged for the system, they don't want to talk about. But I was invited even to Buddhistic meetings, where Buddhists come together. And they are very enthusiastic to discuss how they are nothing. It's really entertaining to watch this. And then they decide, then they glorify Lord Buddha, yeah, who definitely was something, yeah. So the whole Buddhism is just cheating. And actually, Lord Buddha is glorified in the Vedic scriptures as the wonderful cheater. Because anyway, if you know the spiritual strategy, Krishna has a strategy how to enlighten, how to bring people to Krishna consciousness. Just a brief summary. Lord Buddha appeared in times where the Vedic scripture and the Vedic culture was so degraded, misinterpreted by the so-called Brahmins, the intellectuals, who actually, like example, were performing animal sacrifices. In a Vedic culture, animal sacrifice, there is a certain Vedas, is recommended, but for certain purpose. There is even an old animal, could be even a cow, brought and butchered, offered in a fire. And when the priest chants the mantras, out of the fire comes a young cow. It's a rejuvenating mantra. And this is done simply as a test if the power of this mantra is real, if he is not a cheater. That's actually why otherwise no Vedic Brahmana priest will touch meat or eat meat or whatever. But how the Brahmanas degraded? They butchered the animals in a temple in the name of sacrifice. But nothing new came out. And they were thinking, what a waste. Let's eat the maha. And they all became meat eaters. Prabhupada said many times meat eaters have no hope to understand God. They may think and they may even be pious meat eaters in that regard, but they will never be able to really understand God. So Lord Buddha appeared for this purpose, to stop this. Simply stop animal killing. That's all. There is no philosophy in Buddhism. That was added later. All kinds of, I don't know even. But I was just giving lecture 1 week ago in a Buddhistic center, which is actually happily shared by devotees. In a central town of city called Poznań in Poland, where the Buddhists, having not a very big congregation, they think, oh yeah, why not use the place more? The Hare Krishnas can use it also. So this became like this here, but instead of this Radha Krishna paintings and this, it's only pictures of Buddha. And all kinds of tantric Buddha. There's a different types even of Buddhism. You know, like there is Zen Buddhism, there's tantric Buddhism, you know, yeah. That's already where things get really confusing. Like Japanese Zen Buddhism is based on Kshatriya spirit. You know, it's actually based on archery. I don't want to go into archery. I got caught by this too, you know. I have an inclination to these things. So, and I gave up archery because it's addictive. It's really, I met people, they had to every day go to the archery course in Sweden. You know, every day I saw the same man, you know, all the time. I was going, why are they doing this? Well, by doing that, and one has to have a certain nature for these things, you realize why it's so addictive, because it's all in the mind. You gain power over the arrow. You get power to target, and you focus, and by the power of your mind, you move the arrow around. In a Vedic culture, all this what we have described as archery in the Vedic scriptures, nobody understands this today. This was all mystic yogis standing on a battlefield. They could, and we have description in Mahabharata, how the arrows were charged with mantras. Incredible power in these arrows. So externally it looked like, you know, medieval battle, you know, with, no. This was highly advanced, mantra-powered archery. So therefore they could do such amazing things and kill on such a scope with simply archery. Now nobody knows this nowadays. Actually, there's a fellow in Denmark, I don't want to get into it more, but there's a fellow in Denmark who is the top archer in the whole world. You know, he is fascinated by this. He was studying the Vedas. He was studying the medieval archery, you know. And the man is you could call it reborn archer from previous time, because he's doing things nobody can do. You can shoot at him with an arrow, he will catch the arrow in the air, you know. He can roll around and shoot 10 arrows at once and hit exactly 10 targets, things like that. And he didn't even exercise so much. It's just given to him. Anyway, this is just a normal Danish guy. So anyway, so it's all in a mind. So that's Zen Buddhism. You know what Zen Buddhism is? The whole life, guys stand there and aim for a very, very long distant target. But they never release the arrow. They just aim. Mind. And then the guru on a certain point says, now you can release the arrow. and they shoot on a huge distances, ballistic way, and they hit on incredible distance, they exactly hit the target. That's the proof his meditation is successful. So for other people, no. I mean, the Buddhistic center I met in Poland, they don't do archery. They just have drums, and they produce sound. Sound is very interesting. Boom, 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 boom. And they go, now I become one with everything. But it's all in the mind. And after half an hour of such a meditation, they go home and they do exactly the same thing like anybody else. So this is not real Buddhism. Real Buddhism is then we should not do anything. It's all void, it's nothing, meaningless. It's all dream, Maya. Srila Prabhupada was always becoming humorous on this point. He said that when they say it's all dream here, and all Maya, why they are so enthusiastic to enjoy the dream? And so attached to the dream. So attached that they don't want to wake up. Because Krishna consciousness means exactly opposite. It's a process of waking up. When devotees ask Prabhupada, who are these people you are talking about, these Mayavadis and Shunyavadis and Nirvisheshavadis, who are these people? Prabhupada said, you. Everybody was quiet. Because we are so close to it, we don't even know how close we are to it. Because this material world is based on a fear of personal identity. Fear. Fear is a terrible thing because, first of all, it's a sign of ignorance. People who are in knowledge, they are not afraid. And this is how we can test ourselves in Krishna consciousness, how much fear we still have. What kinds of fear? What will they say about me? Oh, that's a source of great fear. How do I look like? What will they say? Internet is full of this. Yeah? What do they say about me? That's one fear. Will they understand what I'm speaking? That's another fear. Everybody is completely egocentric, focused, full of fear. And if somebody says, I'm not fearful, I'm not afraid, Prabhupada said, take out a knife and put it on his belly and see the reaction. What do you mean? You just said you are not afraid of anything, huh? Of course we are afraid, because we don't know. But once you know, and Prabhupada said you can judge your advancement in Krishna consciousness by absence of fear. And what is the result of this? You are not afraid to be a person. Of course, what kind of person? We don't know. Why? We don't know. Because we were told from the first day we were born who we are. You are my son. You are my daughter. You have this name. They gave us a name. I didn't choose my name. I got my name. I didn't choose the country I was born in. I was simply born in it. They gave me an identity. But it's the nature of a devotee, that all devotees have the same nature. They are suspicious. From the very childhood, they go, there is something wrong here. Everybody is telling me who I am, but I don't feel like that. Who is me actually, really? And because we have no spiritual guidance, we are confused. I remember when I was a small boy, when I see the small boys playing here, this is natural for children. They are just switching from one identity to the other. Because they are children, they are not developed enough to seriously and consequently research who is really me. So they play. Just a few minutes ago, one of them was thinking, I'm a driver, I'm driving a car. Another one was thinking, I am now living in a cave. And he was hiding under the chair, under the table. You know, I was exactly like that. Now, I mean, I'm 72 years old, but I can remember. I remember exactly what I was feeling in this body. That body is gone, by the way. I changed the body. It's gone. It's finished. Already before dying, we are changing bodies. So that body is finished. But I remember, because I am the person in the body. I remember I had periods, okay? I assumed identities. I picked up identities, you know, from a book, you know, or I remember I was a cowboy, yeah, I walked the whole day around and, you know. My father brought me, I was in an eastern country, but my father could travel to the west. He was kind of privileged. So he brought me 2 revolvers, children, you know. Oh, I slept with these guns under my cushion. I was worshipping this. I had a belt and I was just going, you know. Oh, I remember months I was walking with this around. Then it faded away. Then I was a musketeer, you know. Yeah, you know that story. I was Mr. D'Artagnan. But I had no sword or no cord, you know. So I took from the lamp, you know, that iron which hangs down, and it got this covering at the ceiling. That was like a sword. So I walked with that around, you know. That was another identity. So, you know, I picked up identities. Until I changed them again. Until you come to an age where you really start to ask yourself, well, who is me really? And then you assume identities. We always constantly assume some identities. Who we would like to be. But it still has nothing to do with who we really are. Who we really are, well, that's defined in the Vedic scriptures. First of all, we are not this body, okay? Oh, that's a big news. We are not this. No. Then, even we have this body, that's a fact. That we cannot deny. But what kind of body we don't have? Oh. It's like you drive a car you never could get out. Can you imagine? You are born in a car and you never came out of that car. You are driving it, but you never came out, and therefore you don't even know how the car looks like. Because you never got the look outside, going, oh, that's the car. You would have to leave the car. But we never leave the car, so we think, I am the car. And it's really funny how what concept people can develop who they are, right? I remember I was born in an eastern country. People had no money to buy some western car. You know, it was not possible. It was this communistic cars, you know. Yeah. You open the hood and there was an engine this big, you know. And then it was solid but small. So somebody brought from the West just a sticker, you know, Rolls Royce or something like this. Just some plastic. And he put it on that car. Or people put some, decorated the steering wheel so it looks different, you know. Because they want to be something else. You know, the idea to be something else is not bad. Unfortunately, when it's limited to this body, it becomes really pathetic. You know, people cut the hair this way and that way, and they think, now I changed. You know, they dress this way, that way, they think, now I changed. People decorate the apartment this way, that way, and think, now something changed. But actually, not much changed. We are living the same lives of eating, sleeping, some mating maybe, and and defending. The bodily maintenance goes on. So, but the idea to find oneself, to be oneself, as they say sometimes, not a bad idea. That's a good idea. But who is the real self? Who is the real me? So nirvishesha shunyavada is for those who are lazy and desperate. They think it's enough now, I will not even ask these questions. I will be what it is. It is as it is because it is so it is. That's what it is. That's called lazy. Sanskrit word is mandan, sexually lazy. Not interested in spiritual life. We find it all the time. Look how many people come here. There are quite few people who know this place exists. But who is coming? Some people cannot because of circumstances, but some people could and they don't. Because they think, I have so many important things to do. There are actually more important things. But all these more important things are temporary. They are disappearing again, again. So it's really exciting to find out how everything is something and nothing is void. It's actually a horrible idea, but it's really just an idea because it never existed, it never will. They always will be something. So in Krishna consciousness, we are more productive. We research things. Once we go to the root of the whole thing and understand that everything comes from the Supreme Person, then things get very interesting. It's like somebody who knows you more personally, okay? Let's say, did you ever notice when people fall in love, how excited they get? Because they see everything in connection with that person they love. Yeah? They go to some place and they think, oh, here I was sitting with her. And she was doing this, or he was doing that. And it's all connected. So when we see everything in connection with the Supreme Person, yeah, then suddenly everything becomes very interesting. Otherwise, we don't see much. We just walk around and consume things. A taste, some sound, okay. People are basically spending very mediocre and lethargic lives. What do? You are born in some city, What do? You just find some means of maintenance. And then you just do that. And then in the evening you go home, same place. But devotees are by nature very ambitious people. They are not satisfied with that. No. They want more. And you don't have to even change the location very much. One has to change one's consciousness. And this is called Krishna consciousness. Then suddenly things become very interesting. Besides that, those who go out and try to preach Krishna consciousness, then life gets very interesting. If you really want to have some adventure in this life, you don't have to climb up the mountains. You don't have to cross the oceans. You don't have to do some extreme sport. You just have to preach Krishna consciousness. This is the most extreme and adventurous lifestyle you can ever get. And I can confirm that. I don't want to be too autobiographic, but I tell you quite frankly, looking back last 53 years since I started chant Hare Krishna, it wasn't boring at all. I mean, devotees sometimes tell me to write an autobiography. Impossible. There will be a library. It will be a library of books. I talk a lot, and I can remember many things. I can talk in an autobiographic way day and night, one story after another, and devotees just go, "Where did you hear that?" And I said, "I didn't hear it. I was living it." I rarely talk about something I heard. It's enough when I talk what I lived. Wild stories. You put a finger on a map of Europe, on that country. Probably I was there in that town. Any country you pick up Europe, just put a finger on it. And I will tell you how I met Prabhupada there. I will tell you how I met devotees there. I will tell you some countries I don't have so much contact anymore, some countries more. It's changing. You know. Yeah, I was last 2 months alone, maybe visiting around 30 places like this, Mama. You know, yeah. Devotees are everywhere, spread out. It's not the movement I joined, I have to say boldly. No. The movement I joined was also not so many devotees as people think. No. But everybody did the same. You could go anywhere in the whole Europe or in America. Anywhere you went, you met devotees who were doing exactly the same, preaching. There was nothing else. And of course, Srila Prabhupada said, he predicted, that's not going to stay like this. This is just the beginning, but as we grow, Krishna consciousness will spread out, of course. Then there will be other people in other parts, other, phases of their lives. We were always thinking, yeah, that's them, yeah. No, it became us. You know, when I joined this movement, for me, marrying or getting family was like dying. Finished. It's over. Bye-bye. It was really like that. And I was not alone. We were all thinking, marrying my family, it's like dying. You know. And then, absolute majority of us got married, and when we didn't die. So things did naturally evolve to another phase. Still, there is one thing, that this is a preaching movement. This is not collecting good karma movement. This is not let's become pious and go to heavenly planets movement. No. There are other movements for that, and we respect that. But this is not the Prabhupada's movement. Prabhupada movement is a Sankirtan movement. Means San means together, and Kirtan means together Kirtan. And spreading, this is the mission of Lord Chaitanya. Before, Krishna consciousness was always quite private affair. You know. Even when Krishna appeared, people were living already along the Vedic patterns, but even Krishna was not recognized always as God. But people were pious, you know. But this dynamic preaching spirit, this is coming from the times of Lord Chaitanya, who was aggressively going out, you know, on the street, spreading Krishna consciousness to entirely unqualified people. This was never done before. And then came Srila Prabhupada, who brought Krishna consciousness, who took it to a dimension which nobody could imagine. Nobody. It is stated in the Shastra that those who live behind the big water, the ocean, all mlekshas, unqualified to become Vedic culture, completely unqualified. That's exactly what Prabhupada preached. He changed lives of so many people. He made us, I mean, I'm the living evidence of that, okay? I'm not supposed to be Krishna conscious whatsoever. I was born in Czechoslovakia. You were born in Russia. Oh, isn't it? Yeah. Since when was Russia Krishna conscious? Since when was Czechoslovakia Krishna conscious? Bhakti Nema was born in Albania. Wow, what a place. Sounded always very exotic to me, you know. Yeah, Albania, so I connected always with some monasteries in the mountains and some monks there. And then, of course, during the communistic days, this was known as the worst place. Worse like China, worse like Russia, Albania was. This is where the government was bulldozering churches with bulldozers. You know, yeah. So, whoa. You know, so how is it possible? Now we have books in Albanian. You know, and now our devotees are making Harinam on the street in Albania. How is that possible? You know, in India, it's a completely different story. Even India took a turn which Prabhupada didn't expect. Prabhupada considered India being degraded and lost. He was very negative about India. Because he tried to start ISKCON in India already. He got no help and no assistance. He was leaving India quite bitter. You know, yeah. So, and he said, Vrindavan, all the holy places, they will be ruined. Already then, in his time, Yamuna got poisoned by industrial garbage, you know, and start to happen, you know. And Prabhupada said, demons do it on purpose. They will make these places unlivable. You know. Well, something like this is still going on. You find in India incredibly polluted places. But I think Prabhupada would be surprised. Today you come to Vrindavan, you come to Mayapur. The whole India took such a Krishna conscious turn. I just go to Report, I give you an example. I'm in connection with Polish devotee, one old Polish devotee. He is regularly invited to India. You know, and he said, I'm so embarrassed. I come to India, they treat me like I'm almost guru, you know, but I'm not guru, I'm a normal grihasta. They're so respectful. And so he said, actually, I had a secondary motivation to go to India, to fix my teeth. Because in India, they are very cheap dentists. And here they are only expensive dentists. So many devotees do that. So he had an appointment, devotees helped him. He went to a dentist clinic, a whole clinic, like a hospital. You know. So they fixed his teeth. And you know what happened? The next day, the chief dentist of the dentist clinic and his wife went with him on a street distributing Prabhupada's books in a town. That doesn't happen in Sweden, isn't it? You know, yeah. And they took their friends with him. He sent me a photo, I can show it to you. There is 60 people standing there with Prabhupada's books. First day on Sankirtan, distributing Prabhupada's books. Very proudly standing there. Going, wow, that's India. Just amazing. As a matter of fact, without Indians and Russians, even ISKCON Europe will be really non-existent. Local people don't join. Wherever I go, local people don't join. I don't know why. When I joined in Germany, it was only German devotees. I was the first only immigrant amongst the devotees. It was German devotees. You went to France, there were French devotees. England, English devotees. That was the movement I joined, yeah. Now, wherever you go, it's just Ukraine, Russia, India. Basically, that's what it is. But there are exceptions, like in Czech Republic, there's still the core is Czech devotees, definitely. Hungary, definitely. Hungary is very Hungarian. You know, it's a kingdom. Hungary they like kings. you know. So, so even the ISKCON in Hungary is very much kingdom-like, but in a good sense, in a positive sense. So, we don't care where the flow of mercy goes. The major point is that the flow of mercy has to be maintained. So, I don't want to go more in detail because I always appear like I'm anti-Swedish or insulting to the very few and very rare Swedish devotees. No. I lived here for 28 years in Stockholm alone, in Göteborg, in various locations. But I didn't live in Sweden. From the early days of this yatra, the first devotees who were preaching here were not Swedish. No, I know them. I met them. Yeah. It was always like that, right? But those who joined, Swedish devotees, and actually there was a time they were joining, yes, in the early 80s, and throughout the whole 80s. I have to really mention the Vegavan Prabhu who was here preaching. He was able to attract this. Madhvapuri is one of the ones he was preaching to. That's also very special. It's just not. The previous chief here, Hare Krishna, the GBC, asked Madhvapuri, "Are you really Swedish?" He was a little bit confused about him. "Are you really Swedish?" That kind of question. So, what can you do? Though even more so, I was for years, I never in my life planned to come to Sweden. In my life, I had not the idea. Even as a boy, I wanted to go, I always want to go somewhere, But I want to go to the south, to the, fanatical Latinos, and to the hysterical Italians or fanatical Spanish or whatever, but not to these blue-eyed people, who have no expression on their face. It was scary to me. North was for me a place, it didn't exist on a map. Yeah, but Krishna humorously arranged. I was tricked to come here, yes. I got a Swedish wife. But sorry, she's not so Swedish either. No. I don't know, there's some Russian, very, very remote Russian connection there. Anyway, whatever. No. So, and she joined in a time when there was really quite a solid crew of Swedish devotees. The preaching those days, you will be amazed. It was very dynamic. Sweden was different. There was a mood of folkhemmet. There was a mood of congregation. Yeah, you can still see it when you go to the small Swedish towns, how the infrastructure is designed. There is always a central marketplace with places to sit around so people can meet in the evening and they be together. Sweden was known for that. It was known a place where you can go and start a community. Place where there is a space and freedom. You can do things. Lots of space. Yeah? People used to immigrate to Sweden for that reason. There was communities. Denmark even more. Farm communities. Spiritually motivated communities. In Denmark there was some Mayavadi guru, but he was a very, very dominant in Denmark. They had a farm community. We met people like this. So, and Sweden was a place to get space, freedom, and do things. The preaching was very dynamic here, And people were curious, people were more open, people were more personal. Yeah. And then The demons did really good job. Everybody got more and more digitalized, restricted, controlled, registered, number. Everything came more and more number. The tax declaration day was almost like a national holiday. And everything was like, we see you. The whole digital technology is very suitable for that. Now the idea is, Hare Krishna, please come in. Yeah. Now the whole idea is, I mean, there are countries now, they even have ideas that not only you will be controlled by a chip under your skin, but you will have your personal drone hanging over you, watching you all the time. A little gizmo, watching where you're going. When you come to Stockholm, it's already coming to that platform. There's drones in the air. There's cars with cameras driving around all the time. We are watching you. You know, yeah. It's ghastly. This was described by visionaries in a science fiction novels, you know, in a previous century as a horror vision, how things can become. Now we have some information for the demons. They will never succeed. Because Krishna says, I am the life. I am the life. I am the intelligence. I am the inspiration. How do you control that? How do you control Krishna? So they try to control here and pop, it comes out another way. They try to control here, pop, comes another way. You know, like I'm born in Czechoslovakia or Czech Republic today. This country was occupied always by somebody who tried to control it. Always. It's in the middle of Europe geographically. Polish people came, Russians came, Germans came, Austrians came, everybody. This is now our place, okay? This goes since Middle Ages. But Czech people cannot be controlled. Not possible. They developed such an underground culture. Same thing, how do you control India? You know, I would like to see somebody who can control India. Indians, they always find something, you know, even if floods are coming, material nature, disasters, they always come up again. Whoop, you know. Okay, if it doesn't work this way, we try that way. They're incredibly flexible, they are innovative, you know. Where is that intelligence coming from? They didn't learn it in a school. The demons are very eager to control the educational system because they think that's how we create people. And it seemed like I was initiated, my first initiation was have a communistic pioneer. That was official ceremony. I got a piece of red cloth around the neck and I was now a communistic youth pioneer. You know, yeah? Well, I didn't become a communist. I remember exactly the day after that initiation, you just took the red cloth away and just, you know. They were teaching me in a school that Russian people are very special people with special brain. My father, when he heard it, he was laughing. He said, yes, it all comes from the vodka, you know. So I forgot the whole thing. You know, I simply didn't become a communist. For me, it was more important what the parents were doing. And they were not anti-communistic. My father was a musician. And musicians have their own society. It's important how you play music, that's all. If you are Chinese or communist or capitalist, who cares? But the real thing is how you play. Good, you know, well then you accept it. So they have completely their own thing, you know. He was blessed actually because he was completely possessed by music. So here that was his thing. So how do you control people? Impossible. You can see it, you know, and India is for me always, when I go to India, I think, now India changed also to quite a degree, but when I came to India in 1978, first time, that was a different India. I remember we just landed in Delhi, you know. I came out of the airplane. First of all, they opened the door of the airplane. It was like 40-degree plus, you know. I was like, oh, it's really warm here. And then we were waiting here with the passport, you know, immigration, you know. And I look on the ceiling, Delhi airport. The ceiling was missing. There was no ceiling. There was just some pipes. And on the pipes were hanging bats. You know, bats, but big ones, this big. And they were hanging there, just probably flying at night through the airport. I was going, whoa. Interesting airport. Even the mosquitoes were not the same. Ah, the mosquitoes, they love the Western people. They don't bite, you know, Indian people, because Indian people have a sour, you know, blood. But the juice is sweet Westerners arriving in Delhi airport. Ah, the mosquitoes are in ecstasy. So we were bitten 60 times before I even came through the immigration. And then you go down to the airport. Taxi, where's the car? Oh, fortunately, the devotee is waiting with some buses. I never saw such old broken buses in my life. Even in the communistic days, the buses were very broken, but not like that. You know, and they were going, ah, what to speak of how many people can fit into a bus? I was going, the bus is already full. No, from Indian point of view, it was half full. They can still fit people on the roof, you know. It was like that. We were like, oh. Everything was, and the traffic. I was thinking, yeah, they drive on the left side. Nah, in India you drive, there's a space, left side, right side, it doesn't matter. And you think, but now they are crashing, it's all crashing here. No, not really. Of course, sometimes they do crash, but they kind of understand each other. We asked the driver, how can you drive like this? And he said, me home here. I know. They know this one will drive now with this, and this he will drive. And when everything stops, they push each other. You know, they push the guy with the bike standing next to you. Push, you know, like this. And just everybody's pushing. In the West, if you touch a person, he will call police. It's called abuse, actually. In India, well, you know, no abuse. They are sitting on each other. I drove train, Calcutta, you know, Delhi, night train. It was called the sleeper. It's a joke. Nobody sleeps. The whole night we're just, Prashad. And then I was thinking, these people know each other. And whole train know each other. No, nobody knew anybody. But they were just talking to each other all the time. Always eating and talking. I was just like, wow. That was called the sleeper. I mean, India is just endless. In Russia, you meet other things. It's actually Russia and India are quite similar in some regards. There is many different nations living in Russia. Russia is not Russia. There are people, you think, oh, there are Muslims there, there's mosque. And then there's an Orthodox church next to it. I mean, and it's very different people. People from Siberia, Novosibirsk. They invited me now to Novosibirsk, you know. I was going, oh no, I was never that far. I was in Kazan, you know, and these places. It's a different Russia. I mean, St. Petersburg and Moscow is completely different. You know, but they have to live there. They have only one thing they know. When we make trouble, some local mafia man, you know, it's like in India, it's also local mafia. But when some local mafia makes some trouble, well, when the news get to Moscow, Then comes Mr. Putin with the army. And they just roll over everybody. You know, bang, 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 bang. And then it's peace. They know, we get in trouble. So better we are nice to each other, otherwise the big boss in Moscow is not going to be nice to us. Very often is, but still people are so different. And Russian people also, they can survive anything. I mean, we just joked. I mean, I can go endlessly like this, but just to describe to you how impossible it is to control. And this idea to control is always there. Sweden is a really wonderful example. Control, control, control. No, not possible. How do they allow this immigration coming in? Because these people are uncontrollable. And they will never be controlled. They feel very confident, we can do that. We can do that. Come in, we will check you out, and if you don't work, we kick you out again. Nah, they have no idea. These people, they coming from regions where you have to be very strong and very independent and very innovative to survive, just to survive. So Russia, I was just joking with the devotees from Czech Republic from one community. It's a very simple community. They live with no electricity. They cut wood in a forest. They have cows. Very basic life. They do it on purpose. But again, who is working there in a most hard way? Of course, the Russians. Yeah. So they joke. When we pull a tree out of the forest, you know, sometimes they get wood, but they have to cut it themselves, and it's deep in a forest in a mud. Some big tree. Well, there's only two things you can get it out. That big tree from the forest. You get an oxen, have a strong oxen, you know, cow, or a Russian. Two Russians, they go with them. I can show you pictures. They are in a mud up to the belt here, and they go, and they pull the tree out. Because they're used to it. They come from regions where you have to really fight the nature, you have to be with the nature, you have to survive. So this kind of people, this is the illustration how Krishna says, I am the ability in man, I am the intelligence of the intelligent ones, I am the life of the living ones. I am the life. We are all alive because of Krishna's mercy. So there is no way you can suppress this. And we saw it in the history of mankind, big devastation, even natural catastrophes taking place. And again, it comes up again. It comes up again. Again. So as a devotees, we are not so much concerned with this survival issues, you know. People are afraid. What will happen tomorrow? Well, how you will survive? You know, demons like that. They like to put people constantly in fear because then you can control that. But fearless people, how do you control fearless people? But in Krishna consciousness, you become more confident and fearless because you know the only one who can really harm myself is myself. I am my biggest enemy, actually. If I am shaping myself, my consciousness and my life in a Krishna conscious fashion, everything becomes better. And we attract mercy, we attract protection, and we attract auspiciousness. This is how the devotees are attracted to conduct their lives. It's a gradual process because we come from a completely demolished background. Even in India, sometimes in India it's painful for me to see how Indians are innocently trying to copy something, you know, like British came, you know, and they introduced tea time, you know, all British drinking tea. This was not before ever. There is no tea time in the Vedic times. Indians have tea, what tea? But the British were introducing, this is a culture, you know, tea time, you know. Actually, British are just one big factory for degradation. I can illustrate that, I can demonstrate that. But they were for decades and hundreds of years viewed like, oh, this is advancement. This is very advanced people coming from London. Very advanced. Look, so much opulence. They have servants. They have opulence here. But the lifestyle absolutely degraded. Based on illicit sex life, alcohol, meat eating, and gambling. Whatever. These four principles, that's called British culture. In India, it was never seen like that. And that was Prabhupada's appeal to the Indians. Don't buy it from them. You have nothing to copy. Prabhupada said, I didn't came here to take something from you. I came here to give, not to take. So this is what he even taught to us, to Western people, who actually realized that one can live without these things, which we're actually thinking there is no way to live without that. Now, I was lucky. I was raised in a way that there was no drugs, and there was no excessive alcohol, no. But there was meat eating. And I always instinctively hated that, but I didn't know how to avoid it, Well, I became vegetarian already before I joined this movement. How? By visiting a slaughterhouse. That was part of my education as an artist. I remember that visit very well. After visiting that slaughterhouse, half of the class was vegetarian, which was those days absolutely revolutionary. My parents were just panicking. You will die, nothing to eat. Just peanuts and salad. How can you live like this? Not possible. And actually, I didn't know how to live. I don't know how to cook until today. So but I said I would rather die as to, eat animals. Forget it. So, so I'm coming from a generation of pretty radical people. If they didn't like something, they stopped doing this from one minute to the other, just like that. That's the kind of mentality we have to develop in Krishna consciousness. Why shall we always do things we don't like? And when you chant Hare Krishna, things become very dangerous, because then your taste will change. And suddenly, you will not like this anymore. They always tell me, until today I get these questions, who forbade you to do all this? No drinking, no sex life, no gambling. This is fun. Come on, this is fun. Who forbade you this? I said, nobody. No. I can go tonight to Malmö and try something out. Why not? But I don't want to do it. Because for me, it's not fun anymore. It's simply no fun. Whenever they go, fun, I go, oh no, not again, no, please. Whenever they get it jolly, you will get it on Sylvester now, when the end of the year comes, they all, Sylvester. Why everybody has on Sylvester get drunk? Why everybody on Sylvester has to celebrate the end of a year which doesn't exist? In India, they have a completely different calculation. In China, they have a different calculation. They have a new year completely another time. The society is full of these rituals. Now you must, Sylvester, monk, and in India, sometimes they join it too. Christmas. I saw a Christmas tree in Delhi, In January, it was plus 30 degrees, and there's a Christmas tree in Delhi. You go, what is Christmas tree doing in Delhi? Because it's just Christmas, just modern Christmas. What is Christmas? Even the Western people don't know what it is. It has nothing to do with Jesus, sorry. Jesus was born another time. It's even astrologically calculated. So it's all rituals. Then come, we can go on one thing after another. The whole society is brainwashed, just going from one thing to another. Like when it's dark now is a dark time of the year, that people like more lights putting up, that I understand. This is natural. People like to, put more lights. Yeah. Indians are also fascinated when it's dark and you offer ghee lamp and you have festivals of lights. But it's all connected to God. It's always connected to God. Actually, Vedic calendar is full of festivals. But it's all about Krishna. It's all about God. So this is actually what makes life auspicious. Anything else is just routines. No taste, no fun. That's the reason they have to get drunk. Because drunk means forget. And kind of fun. What kind of fun is this? You lose control. You are completely embarrassing yourself. This is called fun. So we don't have to do that. So Shunyavada and Nirvishesha, these two concepts actually don't exist. It's just an idea, but a popular idea. So we don't get responsible. Because the more personal you understand life to be, the more responsible you actually really are. If I'm a person, you are a person, we are kind of responsible. How we deal with each other, what we do, this is all brings risk, and people don't want that. Therefore, they like these impersonal concepts because they feel then I'm not responsible. It's the concept, it's the system, it's them, it's not me. No, it's always me. And this is what makes Krishna consciousness a little bit demanding. Because we have to face ourselves, we have to deal with ourselves, and we have to take responsibility for ourselves. So this is why people don't like it sometimes. Now they go, no. They try even, they even try to make God responsible. Yeah. In India sometimes, I don't know if it's still going on, but we used to tell people, why don't you surrender to Krishna now? I will do, I know, they know Krishna is there. They know that. I will surrender, but later, that's for the old people. Young people, not so much, they have so many things to do. Old people then surrender, yes. Later. No, Krishna says no. In any period, in any sphere of life, you can dedicate your life to God. Why not? In a regulated way. Srila Prabhupada always pointed out, we don't have to change anything. We just have to change our consciousness. That's all. Everything connected to Krishna. Always remember me and never forget me. This is the only principle we are following in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, we just keep on doing. We are also doing. We are cooking, we are eating, we are having even families. We all have that. But there's always Krishna. So, I don't want to go too long. Please.
Hare Krishna, thank you for a wonderful lecture. Thank you for being here today. Yeah, if some devotees have the question or some comments, if the devotees have some question or comments, if they have some comment or some...
Yeah, anytime, please.
And after we continue with the arti and Bhoga offering.
I will equip myself so I can hear better. This is... For me, this is new. I never had this before. Yeah?
Yeah, if we have not...
I don't know. If you have some comments or questions, sure. This is... but I'm also aware that people do have questions, usually, most of the time, but not immediately. It takes a while to think about things. It takes a while to process things. It's understandable, Yeah. And you are lucky Srila Prabhupada is not here, because when he gave a lecture, nobody dared to ask anything. Because very often, and Prabhupada was absolutely unpredictable. So you ask some questions and you emerge as a complete idiot, publicly. So everybody was, very afraid, And sometimes Prabhupada was more lenient, but sometimes he was answering the question you didn't ask. That's really embarrassing. Like one of his disciples, he addressed Prabhupada, where are the doubts coming from? I have always doubts. Is it real, or could be different, isn't it? But actually, I don't have answers. I have just doubts. Prabhupada looked at him and he said, don't worry, we will get you married. Everybody was shocked. Prabhupada knew that's the problem. And he got married, he had no more doubts, no. Because he was emotionally situated, you see. This is sometimes, the problems are coming from the emotional department, but we try to rationally understand. It's like, how do you rationally understand when you get hungry? You cannot, you think, no, yeah, I feel hunger, but I will be over it. No, you will have to eat something. So sometimes the rational platform and the emotional is clashing. So we have a solution to that in Krishna consciousness too, to regulate your life. So you are somewhat emotionally regulated, and then we can proceed in Krishna consciousness. Why not? People play games all the time. My God. I see it all the time when I travel. And you know what the advantage of age is, advancing age? You are tired to play the games. When you are young, you are very good, you can pretend very nicely. When you get older, better not to do this. You get tired of this. Why should I do this? It's waste of time. People anyway understand who we are generally, they know. And they know better as we do sometimes. So why just play the games? Prabhupada advocated devotees should be open-minded, straightforward, and honest. This is exactly opposite to Shunyavada and Nirvishesha, impersonalism and voidism. No, we should state it as a person, open-minded, nicely, but honestly. That amongst devotees, Prabhupada expected us to relate to each other like that. In a material world, it doesn't work, because as soon as we are open-minded and honest, somebody will take advantage. No wonder people are afraid. You cannot be open and straightforward, because somebody will immediately take advantage. As a devotee, this should never happen. And if it happens, it's his problem, not my problem. So what? A devotee is somebody. I tell these people sometimes, you see, I am an old man who has nothing to lose. I heard this is the most dangerous people. The most dangerous people are those who have nothing to lose. Because what? But this makes life very easy, very easy. Pretending is such a hard job. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, we do little arte. We continue. Thank you for the lecture, and we continue Hare Bol. We continue with the arte.
Yes.
And, yeah.